Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling, here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jessica, I am so good. What a powerhouse of an episode. It was so good. I am so excited to talk about Go Fish with my very BFF, my favorite fire sign. It's such a gift that we get this episode during Leo season. I just think it's so nice. Is Leo season almost over? How many more days?
I think it is over, isn't it?
Well.
Season end. Hold on. Yeah, no, it's done. It's over.
It's done. Okay. Well,
it's been done. Yeah.
I feel like we watched it during Leo season, our first watch.
Yeah.
What a gift for my favorite Leo.
I feel like you're going like, okay, because the bit was you're going to stand this episode unironically, but I feel like you've exceeded
because
the
this episode has exceeded our expectations.
Your excitement level is so higher than it has been for anything we've ever covered ever, I think.
I don't know what you're talking about, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm. Your very genuine excitement is very, very high at this moment.
Yeah, I'm excited to be alive. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to cover Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Mm-hmm. We're really, really lucky to be covering this show, a 90s show. See what it taught us. So much stuff. Stop it, Jessica. I don't like that look that you're giving me.
I feel like you had like 3 cups of espresso before coming on to the podcast.
Well, Jessica, that's me espresso.
I love that you're like, we're what, 4 years into this endeavor, and you're like, yeah, we're talking about this great 90s show. Let's see what it taught us. Like, that hasn't been the premise for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I learned.
Can you
believe
it's been 4 years? By the way, it hurt my brain a little bit when I just said that out loud.
Yeah, I think that we recorded our first episode a little bit more than 4 years ago, or about 4 years ago. We didn't release until September. I always forget when our anniversary is of the podcast, but it's coming on up. Yeah, 4 years. It's been quite an adventure. We say this every year. Such a big accomplishment for any podcast to be consistent for more than 7 episodes, even more so to do it for more than 4 years.
How many? Let me see. What episode number is this? This is episode number 400. It's episode 420.
Hey, like I said,
hilarious.
It giveth.
Well, that may have helped with me watching this episode, which I have to. I'll say at the top. So obviously, we're talking season 2, episode 20. Go Fish. This is one of those episodes that people have said, "Oh, it's in like the bottom 10. It's in the bottom 5. Like it's not a good episode." Yeah. And I think the thing is that it's not that bad. However,
Never.
if, going back to last week, if you're AJ and you are a week to week watcher in the moment in the 90s and you're like, yes, it's Buffy night. I got my popcorn. I got my watch party. I don't know if people, whatever, we're really excited for Buffy this week. And you're like, oh, we're going to get Spike and Drew, and Spike stood out of the wheelchair, and all this other stuff is going on, and Bangel and blah, blah, blah. And then you get this episode. Mm-hmm. I could understand the frustration. I just don't know that any episode will be as offensive to me as the pack.
Yeah.
And this one certainly was not as offensive as the pack. And I think what may have helped, Sarah, is we did watch this with a group of our friends online.
Kinda. I mean, we were watching on the PSR Discord. Mm-hmm. You were watching it. I answered 10 calls from my coworker.
Oh my gosh.
So I barely watched it in that sitting, but yeah, that could have helped having some people for a morale. I think
it did. It was just a fun experience to watch it with a group of people.
Yeah. For me, I feel as though what I really appreciate about this episode is that sometimes things get a little too intense and we need to take the foot off the gas for it to be really, really exciting next week for our 2-part finale. So I feel as though we needed this. We needed a lighthearted, fun. What was that?
Like a breather. This is like a
palate cleanser. That sorbet that you eat in during a fancy dinner between courses. This is that orange sorbet, and I feel like I needed it. I needed this episode of Go Fish to
what else
feel better about my life and in general.
This feels like, when you're like, okay, I know I'm going to have a fun party night out tonight.
Yeah.
I need to drink a ton of water before I get to the good stuff. Or I need to make sure I have a nice full meal before I get to the good stuff.
Steam that's loaded up with steroids that turn you into a fish.
You know what? Been there, done that, Who hasn't?
I mean, I'm feeling a little bit scaly right now. I think that maybe I need to lather up and add some soaps to my routine, by the way.
And you know what this episode did have going for it?
What's that?
It kind of had a ridiculous amount of recognizable guest stars.
Yeah.
Which was weird for such a weird episode,
Well, everybody who's anybody would like to be a part of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of famous people come about on this show. And we have, I know at least one recognizable person. Maybe you recognize more. You're pretty much better at that sort of thing than
it's
me.
More usually I need assistance from the peanut gallery. It'll be oh, I know that person, but I'm afraid to Google because spoilers. Yeah. So I always have to be where do I know them from? But yeah, this time we have Wentworth Miller, famously from Prison Break. Have you prison breaked, Sarah?
No.
Have you broken out of prison? No,
never.
You're still in it.
No, I'm still there. I did finish Better Call Saul.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the ending without spoiling it for people who maybe haven't,
Adam didn't like it. I was okay with it. I was good with it because we have a little bit, the ship that was shipping that was set off to sea. I hopped on that ship a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Adam was mid. He was they're toxic. They're terrible for each other, blah, blah, blah.
What television couple isn't toxic?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all the most beautiful couples are just like Buffy and Angel. So I liked Better Call Saul. I think that all in all, I think that Breaking Bad had more of a focused plot.
Interesting. Okay.
But I really liked that the whites weren't in Better Call Saul because I don't like the whites, and that's not anything to do with it's just the people, the whites, not white peoples. Just the family, the whites.
The family, the whites. Yeah. Yep. I think did I mention this I may have mentioned this on Felicity. I don't remember now, that we're watching The Americans.
Yes.
We're now on season 3 of that, which has been a lot of fun to see Carrie Russell in a very, very different role than Felicity.
Yeah.
And and then I've been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and that's pretty much what I've been watching.
Yeah, we don't have a new show yet. We literally just finished Better Call Saul yesterday.
Do you know what's going to be next? Do you have a plan?
We have to watch El Camino, of course.
Right. The movie. Mm-hmm.
Gosh, no, there's a little bit of a disagreement in our household. Like in my ideal world, like he'll pick a show, I'll pick a show, but in his mind, I just pick the show and then I pick the show. But I would love to introduce him to Ally McBeal, or I would love to have him watch Sex and the City. I might propose Veep because he likes Veep and I haven't Vepped. I only Vopped.
Which obviously is the past tense of Veep is Vopped. Veeped,
yeah.
Vopped, Vipped.
Yeah, it's like a bop it.
Vep it.
Veep it. Bop it. Vap it. Yeah, no, so that's a possibility, but no, I don't know the show yet.
Fun options.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, are you ready to go fish?
My new favorite episode. Yeah, totally.
Let's go fish.
Yeah. When was the last time you played Go Fish?
A long time ago, because it's just luck, and I don't enjoy games that are 100% luck.
Okay.
When's the last time you go fished?
A really long time ago, but maybe I should get into it.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, it's like the game War. It's like, why are we doing this to ourselves? You know?
Because it's an excuse to hit your friends.
You hit your friends when you play card games?
You go 1, 2, and then you had to slap down
with War.
Am I thinking of the right game? Yeah, like you put down like.
It's whoever has the higher card gets the stack or whatever.
What am I thinking of? I don't know.
You're thinking of Spit, I think, where you play with two people.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Spit.
Yeah. I feel like you and Adam were into Spit for a while, weren't you?
Mm-mm.
Oh, never mind. Someone else was. Anyway, let's talk about Go Fish. We're taking a detour from the main plot line this episode to talk about sports, and you know us, we're sports girlies, so we're going to talk about swimming.
At time we've been a sports podcast.
We really have. We've come a long way, I will say. I feel like we're pretty knowledgeable. How are you about swimming? Like, I mean, obviously the Olympics were just here and gone, and big swimming time at the Olympics. Do you enjoy watching it?
Who wouldn't? Who would not? My only complaint is that I always thought in the Olympics you wore like the little
Speedo?
The little Speedos, but the guys have taken away the Speedos and now they wear like tight bike shorts. Yeah. And I just wasn't prepared.
You like a man thigh?
Yeah. I mean, I love a man thigh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did enjoy seeing Xander, who I think is
did
above,
you?
Yes, of course I did. He has a great body. What's not to like? So yeah, we are covering the swim team. The swim team is apparently Sunnydale's big sport. Gone are the days of football. We are celebrating the swim team who won their meets, and they're all at the local beach celebrating. Everyone looks so cold.
True. But I always wanted, and obviously I don't live in a place where this makes sense, but like to go to a beach party in high school, like, cause you watch like The Hills and like all those shows and you're like, oh my gosh, a beach party looks so fun with like a bonfire and like a pep rally at the beach sort of thing seems fun. But I live in upstate New York and we're not really near any beaches.
No, I never really been to a beach bonfire party. Yeah. But everyone's there. We see Willow, Cordelia, and Xander talking it up on their winter coats. And they're just talking about the fact that it seems as though the swim team gets more hype and attention than everybody else. And Xander's feeling a little sort of way about this.
Yeah, because this is how it is in most, at least high school television shows. I don't know about most high schools where if you're on a school sports team and that team is doing well, you tend to get preferential treatment. Like sometimes you'll get better grades because if you have poor grades, usually you're not allowed to play on the team. So teachers will raise your grades a little bit so that you can participate in the teams. And they're just like these heroes of the school. Cordelia kind of falls into that party there where she's just like, yeah, it's about time our school was good at something.
Well, yeah, and I love Willow's line. I was like, yeah, besides like the death rate numbers.
Yeah, we're good at dying around here.
No, I mean, of course. I thought this episode was so good at highlighting a big issue of like preferential treatment for sports players. Like even later on when we see the principal Schneider come in and try to give that one student a little boost, like it really magnifies the fact that this is like a real problem across America. And I don't think that it's something that a lot of people know. So for Buffy to come out in the 90s and make like a highlight of this and just like bring awareness, I just feel like it's a treat, honestly.
Really was after school specials. I couldn't even say that sentence.
Yeah,
without laughing.
It was exactly like an after
it's what we
special.
needed. It's what we needed.
I just need awareness of life's small and big issues in high school, especially. So I thought that this was really, really good to highlight the problems in the school politics of it all.
And we're introduced to a couple of different new characters this episode, Cameron being one of them. Cameron approaches Buffy, who's just kind of, deeply looking out into the ocean. And he's a fucking weirdo. He just starts like, he's that dude who's like not even just into swimming, but he's just into water. Like he's very into water. He's like, oh, the ocean, a mother, eternal, giving birth to new life and devouring old. It's like, all right, bro, this isn't a fucking, like, what are you writing poetry here? Like you're such a, get out of here.
He's deep, like the deep blue ocean. Yeah. And he's kind of like the equivalent of the horse girl.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
He's too into the ocean. Like his porn search history is a little weird.
Yeah. I mean,
not kink shaming, but like definitely involves water.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. In water, around water, pools.
I'm going to say one more time, just for the people in the back who haven't heard me shout this on a lot of podcasts for whatever reason. Water isn't a lubricant, people. Just
no.
Going to point it out.
No.
Yeah, and so he's chatting it up with Buffy, and then we meet Prison Break guy, and like they're all being really, really mean to Doyle, who does get a name this episode that I think is Jonathan.
Strong name.
Is it? Okay. Jonathan. Strong
name. Johnny. John. Yeah, so they're bullying him, which is actually very awful. But once again, it just like showcases how high school bullies is a plague within our schools.
And no show has ever shown this before. This is brand new content.
I haven't seen it, honestly. Yeah, they're trying to dunk him in a bucket because he wants us to like try out for the swim team, but because he's not as popular or tall or good looking or as good at sports as him or as smart or as talented or as well dressed as all the other boys, he doesn't get to make the team, which is just awful.
Yeah. And so one of the no-name who gives a fuck Dodd swimmer dudes walks off on his own. Prison Break dude goes to look for him, can't find him. He's like, oh, what is that stank? He comes upon just a skin sack. I don't know what else to call it. It's skin. It's just skin.
Okay, so like the whole thing of like, oh, I'm going to like unzip my skin suit and take it off, and underneath is something. That's what it is. It's like a skin suit that is on the floor.
It's nasty.
The effects of this episode, phenomenal. I thought they were really good, especially this skin suit.
One of my favorite moments of this, one of my favorite moments is the creepy fish man just like creeping into the sewers.
Oh my gosh, that is so creepy. Now, I don't know a lot about Fishman. I do know, was there not this like weird fish man movie a couple years ago that won a bunch of Oscars.
Oh, there was something where like a man and a person have sex, or a man and a fish.
A fish man. No, a woman and a fish man.
They have sex.
Fish man movie. Shape of Water.
That's it. That's the one.
If you Google Shape of Water, I'm telling you, the effects are one and the same as this movie. So Buffy, in all, is ahead of its time.
Sure. Yeah.
And this movie won shit, I think. So really, Buffy is a winner of an Oscar.
Really, Buffy essentially won an Oscar.
Buffy is that is exactly what I'm saying.
For this episode.
It's just for this episode.
Just for this episode.
Yeah,
so my question to you is, when you saw the skin, just the human skin, discarded on the ground. Yes. Now, the show, in like a couple of scenes, they're assuming some monster came and ate someone's insides. I pretty much immediately was like, oh no, that monster tore off its human skin layer, its fake skin, and is going about its business creepy crawling in the sewers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though that was my take as well. But once again, it's just like really nice that Buffy lets like their audience be like, so many shows are like, our audience are stupid fucks. But Buffy's like, no, our audience is geniuses and they can know this before our characters do, which is like, it's nice. It's a nice switch up.
Yeah. So, of course, Willow is still teaching the computer class because, I mean, and listen, the logic does make sense that no teachers want to work on Hellmouth. No teachers want to work at Sunnydale High. So obviously we have to have a student that is going to be teaching this class. And Principal Snyder comes in to check in on Willow and basically bully her into giving a prison break guy a good grade because he's on the swim team.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I want to say. I think that, I mean, my first initial thought was like, wow, Principal Snyder is really, really good at finding, like, taking a look at the budget, realizing that they don't have the money in their financial ledgers to go up a pay raise because they know, like, these teachers know that if they come to work here, they're going to die. So if you're going to come to work here, we better be paid like, I don't know, $200,000 a year. But that's
maybe you also offer them like free life insurance policy for like their family and stuff.
That would be incredible. However, the issue is that we don't have that in the budge. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. So my initial thought was, wow, Principal Snyder is just so like economically intelligent. Fiscally responsible in terms of the school, getting Willow there to be a sub, unpaid labor. But then once again, I just want to be like, gosh, you know, just highlighting just like how corrupt higher education can be, or how corrupt like people in higher positions can be, taking advantage of the little ones, like little Willow Rosenberg or whatever the fuck her name is.
Rosenberg. She should get really just an like A in a different class as a thank you.
Yes.
Or like payment.
Well, wasn't she in this class? So is she going to give herself an A?
Yeah, why not?
Which might be nepotism.
I mean, well, the teacher's going to make her give an A to this guy who literally hasn't taken a single test.
Yeah, he does not take a test. He is, in fact, playing solitaire, which... when I was in a computer class in high school, me and my friends would play different games all the time. I would play Sonic the Hedgehog during, and this was like, I think this was like economics, which by the way, I probably should have paid attention because talking about being not financially and fiscally responsible, that was certainly not me. Maybe I needed to pay attention to economics, but I would play Sonic the Hedgehog. My best friend Jillian and my other best friend Michelle, they would play Tetris, and we would just like fuck around in that computer class. And then the teacher had the ability to like go into our computers and see what you're doing. And then we would be like, oh my gosh, it's pop-ups. These pop-ups are just everywhere. Yeah, that's what we did.
Wow. So yeah, Principal Snyder sucks, and he's gonna force Willow to give Gage, I think his name is, a good grade so that he can continue to swim on the swim team. Obviously, Xander is very upset about this because he's not good at sports, and so he doesn't get any of these special benefits that the sportsmen get. And Cordelia's like, you know what? Suck it up, get over it. They're winners, you're not. Some people are entitled to special privileges, and the ugly and less deserving just don't get special privileges.
Yeah, I mean, we learned this really, really early. I mean, I was never let into the club gifted and talented. And I learned very early on in the 90s that I was neither gifted nor talented. And quite frankly, not very good looking either. And that's a tough lesson that you have to learn as a child, especially when you grow up in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We always get ragged on for like, oh, participation trophies. But it's also like, we're not the generation that came up with participation trophies.
Oh, no.
We're the ones who were the recipient of them.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that you always knew when yours was a participation trophy.
It was so much smaller.
Exactly. The real winners got a big ass trophy. My little dinky trophy didn't bring me anything. And she didn't look like me anyway. She wasn't a short, tubby little kid. That girl in the trophy, the soccer trophy, was very slender. And
9 times out of 10, my trophies had men on them. So
yeah. So
also the patriarchy. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have any of your trophies left?
I bet my parents still have them, which I really hope they ditch them at some point because I'm not going through all of that nonsense eventually when they're gone. You know, just throw them out.
Where do all the trophies live?
Probably in the basement, if I had to guess.
Well, I meant
they still have. Can I just tell you
what?
Last time I was there, my brother went downstairs to take something. I don't know, something they kept of his. He was taking with him. And he's like, oh, your karaoke machine is still down there. And I'm like, I've told them I don't want it and they can throw it out and they haven't. And that's not on me because no one is using a karaoke machine that takes CDs anymore. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe they have a little bit of a hoarding issue.
I don't know what their issue is. But anyway. Okay, so Xander's upset about this. Meanwhile, Buffy is pulling up to school, and apparently she got a ride from this deep blue ocean dude, Cameron, and he turns into a creepo in like 5 seconds. He goes from being like, oh, the ocean is a major babe, bro, to being like, hey, are you wearing a bra, sir? What? The whiplash I experienced in this scene, Sarah.
I know. This is the thing. It's just like, just because I'm accepting a ride from you doesn't mean I'm accepting to ride on you.
Exactly. And it's first of all, it's very frustrating. And second of all, it's just like, what gives you the right? And so she smashes his face into his steering wheel as he deserves. Yeah. And of course, who's there but nosy little fucking Principal Snyder. And he's like, I knew you were trouble, bitch. I knew you were trouble. You were egging him on with your tig old biddies, just out and about. Why are you wearing such a low-cut top, you slut? Is basically what he says to her.
Well, yeah, because the Blue Ocean guy was like, she was leading me on because what she was wearing, which is something that is a horrible thing to say. It doesn't matter how many boobs are showing, which... I mean, like, I don't mean...
It's not an invitation. Anything I wear is not an invitation for touchy-touchy.
I'm not going to disparage SMG, but it's not like she has, like, watermelons, like...
Either way.
Exposed anyway.
The thing is, though, Sarah, this is so real to probably both of our experiences in high school and middle school, where our dress code was very strict and only for the girls for the most part. Like, we couldn't wear spaghetti straps. We couldn't wear tube tops. We couldn't wear the juicy sweatpants with the juicy on the butt because it was too inviting, too provocative for boys. And it's like, maybe you should teach the boys not to be staring at my ass. How about that?
Why do you think that 99% of my wardrobe is turtlenecks?
Exactly. We're all traumatized from the 90s. So... It's not right. And the coach is also being a total D-bag. And they're basically like, oh my God, oh no, oh, he broke his nose. Will he be able to swim? And it's like, he didn't break his fucking arms. Like, he broke his nose.
That's what I didn't get. Like, who is questioning if he is able to swim or not with a broken nose?
I think it was
his nose is not broken. It was just bleeding.
It was just bleeding. It really was like not even that bad. It was a little bit swollen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we're introduced to the coach, and they're talking about like, oh, the possibility of winning the championship. And we're introduced to the nurse. And I was a little bit suspicious, Sarah, because I recognized the nurse as like, she was like, the thing is she's played like minor characters and things. So I wasn't overly suspicious, but I was a little bit like, oh, I know her, you know?
And how involved was the nurse?
Well, she at least knew about what was going on with the coach and his using steroids in the steam sauna thing.
Yeah, I really want to get into the logistics of this steam sauna steroids thing because scientifically it sounds very sound, but I just want to make sure that my little pea brain understands the science of it.
Yeah. So Buffy's explaining to the Scoobies about how she was accosted and then dismissed, and none of them seem to care that much because they're too busy about talking about how basically someone ate a man like an Oreo cookie in which they only ate the filling and left the cookie to go.
That's a little disturbing to think about.
That's what Willow said.
Willow, what a creative line. I mean, she's obviously taking creative writing, which is great for her.
I do love this, though, because they're like, why would someone eat the inside and not the outside? And Buffy says the demons with high cholesterol.
Yeah, you don't eat the skin like with chicken. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Only white meat.
It's so funny.
Nothing too fatty.
Yeah. So we see the jerk off Cameron in the steam room, and the coach comes in. He's like, all right, enough. You've, hit the showers. And again, I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe looking back on it, he was doing a steroid steam.
Yes, that's what he was doing. And the coach was like, don't do it too much or else you'll be extra fishy.
Exactly. Too fishy. So Xander bumps into Cameron in the hallway, and this guy's a total douchebag. And basically, again, like they rule the school. He's like, oh, the cafeteria's not closed for me, bitch. I can go wherever I damn well please. I'm a jock.
I had a dream last night that I was standing in line for my high school cafeteria waiting for food.
What was on the menu?
I mean, the line was too long. I didn't get in.
You didn't get in?
I didn't get in.
Awful.
No, but then they had like sandwiches outside and like little desserts. And I was able to get like a turkey and cheese or ham and cheese, which it's not my first choice, but
no.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And this is not the first time I had a dream that was in my high school cafeteria. It's very strange.
I've had lots of dreams about high school, but it's usually like I'm running late for class or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in the cafeteria.
No. So yeah, he gets to go in and get free food, which it's like, okay, hold on. Actually, this is what I want to know. I think, what was the best thing to eat at your high school cafeteria?
Okay. I know the answer to this. It was always when it was stuffed crust pizza day.
Interesting. Okay.
Or Mexican pizza day. We also had Mexican pizza day, which was really good.
What is Mexican pizza?
It was kind of like, so there'd be like a taco seasoned ground beef sort of thing on the top of the pizza. I don't think there was like lettuce and tomato, like there could have been, but I don't believe there was. It's very simple. Like we were, simple children.
Simple folk.
Yeah, we're simple folk up here. Yeah, but the pizza was always the best. Yeah. What about you?
My favorites from the high school cafeteria was the Caesar salad wrap. Caesar was spelt wrong always. And I also really enjoyed the Otis Spunkenbacher.
What the hell is that?
It's the cookies, because the Otis Spunkenmeyer chocolate chip cookies, because whomever made them so undercooked. And it was delectable, delightful, delicious.
High praise.
Yes.
Wow.
The best. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you can buy that cookie dough, like literally.
Oh, shit. No kidding.
Yeah. Which I would love to do. I would buy up that cookie dough and cook them way under Like,
level like a half raw cookie.
Yeah, it was always half raw. That's what it was.
So Xander follows this man into the cafeteria and discovers his skin. And then there's a big scary fish monster who like growls at him. And we don't get to see how Xander escaped. We just immediately cut to the library where everyone and their mother is a fucking artist on these shows. And Cordelia is doing like, you know, how the police have that sketch artist person. What the hell? And it's good.
It's very good. And I feel as though Xander did not give her enough credit.
Truly not.
For how well she was drawing it, because he was like, no, like the underbite has to be more pronounced. It's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, this is incredible. The likeness is uncanny.
Yeah. I mean, truly, I thought it was incredible. But, you know, Xander's unimpressed, I guess. But they're all trying to figure out what's going on, and they realize, well, the people that are people that are getting killed, they think, are the best swimmers on the swim team. Well, who has a grudge against the swim team? Doyle, aka Jonathan. And so Willow is going to put on her little cop hat. Do cops wear hats? Her little cop badge.
Sure.
And she's going to interrogate Jonathan. And Buffy and Xander are going to keep an eye on Gage because he's numero trace on the swim team. And there's a chance that whoever is attacking these other boys are also attacking him. And I love the scene of Buffy keeping an eye on him, not so nonchalantly as he's playing his Game Boy. Incredible.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff over here. I really enjoyed the scene where Willow was playing bad cop because the whole thing just became unraveled so quickly. And
yes,
Doyle's an innocent. He's just a pool peer, which is not good, but is not the worst thing.
Yeah, it's I love Willow. You conjured the black arts and blah blah blah, and he's like, no, I just peed in the pool, and she's like, ugh.
Yeah, grosso. Okay, that was his big revenge though, which was a choice.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty tepid revenge. No one's gonna know you did it. And like, I guess you could chuckle from the sidelines, but unless you're putting like a gallon of pee in a pool, you're not making a dent in that water, you know?
Because it's super, super chlorinated, like overly chlorinated, those pools.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Yep. So the principal is telling the coach, like, listen, we're going to figure this out. Like, get your team in order. And Xander overhears the coach saying, we're going to have tryouts tonight. We need to find someone. And immediately I was like, oh, fuck, man, we're getting Xander on the swim team. Okay, great.
Truly, he saves the day, though. Like, I think it was so good that he was able to, like, make the team, be able to spy. It was good. Like, we needed him there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And it was so freaking funny to watch, like, the girls just like, they're just talking about the swim team in general. And Cordelia sets her sights on a hunky guy. And she's like, oh, that guy is my type. And the camera pans up and it's Xander. Hilarious. Yeah.
But before that, Buffy's following Gage around at the Bronze. And Gage is like, ew, get away from me. You're gross. He goes outside. Angel attacks him. And they could not make it more obvious that there was something going on with the swimmer's blood because he's like, yuck, gross.
What do you think it tasted like? Like uber salty, like salt water? Or did it taste like...
It's the steroids that is gross to him.
The steroids. I mean, I can't say I know what steroids taste like, but
I would imagine chemically. Because I think that the vampires like the purity. That's why they like babies and puppies that haven't been tainted.
Yeah.
Virgin blood. So I imagine they just taste like poison and like chemicals.
Okay. Yeah, basically like the equivalent to when people don't like cilantro and they say that it tastes like soap.
Like soap, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, then we see a lot of Xander's legs. And he kind of has small nipples.
I think his nipples are appropriately sized.
Okay.
I guess.
I mean, Cordelia likes it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, I'm dating a jock now.
She's very pumped because this increases her clout.
Yes. Yes. And unfortunately for Xander, he does end up going in the steam room and he's asking the guys about, the steroids. And he's like, oh, we're doing it right now. And it's like, oh shit, it's the steam in the steam room. So
he's trapped.
Yeah. The logistics of this are interesting. So from what I understand about steroids, it's like an injection. It's like you use like a needle, like an IV sort of thing. Not an IV, but you know what I mean.
Yes, that is my understanding as well.
So how can this be absorbed, like just by breathing it in? Contact, I guess.
Oh, I mean, I can do a little googs. Steroids in the steam air. Let's see.
When you said I'm going to do a little googs, I really had no idea what you were talking about. And now I just realized you meant you're Googling.
Yes, that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing on this topic.
Shocking. Truly shocking.
Yeah, but the thing is that this is a fantasy show. They take liberties when they are able to. So I'm not bothered by the fact that this steroid is put into the water of the steam room, the pipes of the steam room, the essential oils within the steam room. That doesn't bother me. It makes sense because it's kind of like a contact high. Like when your buddy is smoking up the reefer and you're like, hey,
I'm sorry, are you 80 smoking up the reefer?
And you're like, hey,
on our 420th podcast, Sarah?
Hey, get out of here. I need to take a drug test next week for my job. I cannot have you smoking the dope in my presence.
I'm really upset that we're now 40 minutes into this podcast and I haven't been making more subtle references to marijuana because it's our 420th podcast.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. Like you just have to be in the surroundings of it. The steam goes into your pores, through your nose, out through your mouth. They're getting infested. So the science makes sense to me. And I really like the creative thinking we're doing here in this episode. The little bit of the confusion is, okay, so they're steroided up. Where do the fish come in?
So, okay. I think there's some sort of weird concoction where it's steroids plus good swimmers plus hellmouth equals fishman. Okay. And let me be blunt. These fishmen are nasty looking. And I didn't enjoy when Buffy runs into the locker room and she sees Gage ripping his skin off.
But the effects were there. They were good. Now, okay, so this is the thing. Okay, we're going to pump you up of these steroids. That's what the coach wants to do.
Yes.
Pumping you up. So much so, you're such a good swimmer, you're swimming like a fish. It makes so much sense. Like, it is making them such good swimmers that they become fish because hellmouth. Is that correct? That's it.
I assume so. And listen, we don't have all the answers. I could call my Aunt Mary Jane right now, but no one has time for that.
You don't.
So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've seen your family tree and that's a little questionable, but
I have 2 Aunt Marys. I'll have you know.
Is their middle name Jane?
You don't know.
I do know.
You don't know. So Buffy fights the 2 fishmen. And they do get away. Buffy ends up with like a scratch or whatever. The nurse is taking care of her. She says, "Oh, you might need your family physician to take a look at that." Buffy says she's feeling the burn, which is maybe like 25 years too early for her to say that.
I mean, I feel the burn all the time. Feeling the burn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's now they figured out, okay, it's not that fish people are attacking the humans and eating their insides. No, the humans are turning into the fish people.
Yeah. And what to do about this, because we don't want to kill the innocents, and it's probably not their fault that they're turning into fish people that are killing everybody or anybody, some people. So what is there to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not
now's the time. It's time for Willow and Giles to shine. It's time to do some Googling, time to do some research. And so they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And so Willow, the hacker extraordinaire that she is, hacks into the school medical files and sees that, oh, well, all these guys have symptoms associated with steroid abuse because they're all very like, grouchy and irritable and maybe have tiny balls. I don't know, but those are the only things I know associated with steroids.
Yes. Yeah. And yes, like as you said earlier, they're saying that the nurse had to know because they administered the drugs. Well, the heir did, but at least like she has to be because she treats the kids.
And so they're like, oh, the nurse has to be involved in this.
Yeah. And it's all because of the prestige and the power and everything else that goes into being a champion. Funding goes into the school. Once again, a flawed system. So grateful that we're bringing awareness to this issue. Everywhere in America, day by day, there are young boys plagued by fishdom, the disease of fish.
Yeah.
Fishmen. And it's just really good.
And the thing
I'm aware of it now.
Yeah. And these guys, right? They have, because they're questioning why would they do this, right? Like, are they doing it on purpose or are they being drugged? And they're talking about, no. They are doing it because they want to succeed. They need to succeed at swimming. Sunnydale doesn't have much, but the swimming team is really good. They don't want to come in 8th place. They need to be in 1st place.
It's so much pressure. It's so much pressure to be an athlete, a young athlete, to be told that they need to be the best, that they go to these extents. Like, I am worried for my son and my son's son. And even my son's son's son. Hopefully by my son's son, all of this will be better because hopefully America will be more developed.
Well, that's the thing. They don't want to be called dopes. They want the nickname Blaze because they're so fast in the water. And basically being a fish makes you faster in the water, obviously. So
1 + 1 = 2, Jessica.
Exactly. So they go down. They're going to look in the sewers. Buffy and Giles are looking around. Meanwhile, Xander needs to get the tea. So he's like, oh, we're all sitting in this, in the steam room. Where do we get these injections? And they're like, you're soaking in it, bud. And did you recognize this man who said that line?
Of course I did. Yes. Shane West from A Walk to Remember. Mandy Moore's bad boyfriend that's like a bad boy and then falls in love with her even though she has cancer, and then she dies and like, leaves her entire life savings to him because they got married like a day before, even though maybe that's like a little bit questionable, but it's okay.
Yeah. So I just looked it up because I was curious if this was a 90s movie. It's very close. It's a 2002 movie. I remember, this is mean, I don't care. This was like at a time where a lot of kids our age, because it was around like, I was 11 when it came out, but I feel like a lot of people were watching it in the preteen kind of era.
Yeah.
And people my age loved this movie. Absolutely adored it. We're like, oh my gosh, couple goals. We're shipping it. Yeah. I watched this movie and I was like, this is so fucking stupid.
Bitch. You were not a Mandy Moore fan like I was.
No.
man.
I love Stupid Cupid. I love Stupid Cupid. Don't give me. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I loved me some Mandy Moore. Still do.
You don't like Only Hope?
What is Only Hope?
It's the song that she sings.
Oh, no, because I thought this movie was dumb.
Wow. No, this movie had a chokehold on me when I was...
Because really, you're getting married? What in the fuck?
Well, you're not like a little baby romantic like I am. I
really
ate
not.
this shit up. I was like, it's true love. I was sobbing in my Aeropostale t-shirt. Just devastated that these two didn't get to have their happily ever after. But I'll tell you what, he probably did. Shane West probably did have his happily ever after because Miss Mandy Moore probably had life insurance. So,
which everyone who works at Sunnydale desperately needs.
Yeah, I've been in the hunt for some life insurance. Honestly. Same.
Yeah,
I've been talking about this for a while. I think we all should get some life insurance.
We should. We're of that age.
Yeah.
So
I don't have. Okay, never mind.
The nurse is not down with doing this anymore. She's over it. She's done.
Not down to clown no more.
No, she says, Coach, go touch some grass. We can't be doing this to the children's anymore.
Which I really love because I love a woman that stands up for what's right. And she says, I will not be poisoning these kids anymore. We can't have any more fish boys. We need to stop this. I'm worried about my children's children.
Yeah. And you know what he says to the nurse?
Fuck it. We're
down in the pit you go.
We're gonna pump these kids full of steroids, the roids.
Yeah, we're giving them the roids. Get in the tank.
Nurse. They're gonna not only be fish, they're gonna be sharks.
They're gonna be the best sharks you've ever seen. This is like the calculator in Dawson's Creek.
Maybe not.
So yeah, he's done with her. He's like, you know what? You're fish food now. Here you go. He's like, I'm looking after my boys, and my boys are hungry. And then all of a sudden, the fish people just start circling in on her.
They're like pariahs.
I want to know how the weird thing is
piranhas. They are pariahs, though. They have to be living under the sewerage. They can't be out with the real people because people won't accept the fish boys.
Definitely not. The thing I don't understand is how he got them to go into the tank, because we've seen them in the locker room. We've seen them in the cafeteria. Like, how is he congregating them into the tank without them attacking him? Because we see later they were at him in the shreds.
Because they have to go back to the water. So it's just like they can't be out and about very long.
Their skin dries out.
They become like dried fish. So they have to go into the water and rehydrate. So it's not like he has to get them in there. They have to go to the sewers and be in the water. This set, by the way, looks very like Phantom of the Opera, when the Phantom has to go into his like little dungeon area, and Christine is like the Phantom of the
Operas.
Yeah. And so she like goes and like does her little boat. Yeah, love the Phantom.
Yeah. So anyway, back to this episode, which is definitely brilliant. Xander is freaking the fuck out because he has now been in this sauna 3 times and he doesn't want to be a fish person.
Yeah, I mean, a little prejudice, but it's okay. It's okay.
So, yeah, Buffy's like, I'm going to talk to the coach. I definitely think he's involved in all of this. And this coach, he's just like, everyone's going to die. My boys are really hungry. I don't give a fuck who I have to kill to make regionals or sectionals or semi-regional sectionals. We're going to dump.
Is very like Glee.
It is. We have to get to sectionals.
I mean, they got to sectionals, right? This is the most.
I don't fucking know. No one knows. But they were always trying to get to sectionals or regionals or regional sectionals or semi-formal regional sectionals.
They gotta get to, but
have to get to semi-nationals too.
And internationals. The thing is that Glee, they were never the best, but they always won, which was so annoying.
That was the most unbelievable part of that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So Buffy goes, and then this freaking coach, again, he's just like, nah, here you go. I'm going to shoot you. Buffy jumps in. Fish people are like gonna attack her. And here's the thing. This coach is a fucking pervert because he's like, you know what? They're not only just hungry. Guess what? They have other needs too.
Oh no. They want to make Buffy into their sexual fishy slave. Disgusting. Once again, need to bring awareness to these awful, awful people. The coach, it's just, he's just evil. Facts are facts. And I think it's a good lesson that, like, at the end of the day, winning should not be your number one priority. No. Friendship should be. Loving your neighbor should be. Being kind to the underprivileged fish people. That should be.
Yes.
Not winning. Winning, Jessica. Not fame, not fortune. We're just losing sight on what's important.
The fish people are important.
Everybody's important. It's an equal. We're equal. We're in America, Jessica. Everybody's important.
It's a speech versus going. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway.
Cordelia and Xander are in the pool, and she like turns away for 1 second, and one of the fish people jumps in the pool, and she thinks that it's Xander that has changed into this person.
Okay. Truly, this was my favorite scene.
It was really funny.
Yeah, where Cordelia's like giving this speech. She's like, I'm gonna love you even if you are a fish person. Like, I'll do.
We can still date or not if you want to see other fish.
She was like, I'll give you like a little bath. I'll bring you bath toys if you want.
I love the idea of her bringing in bath toys.
It was pretty much like my favorite scene of the episode. In a plethora of amazing scenes, this one was my favorite.
And my favorite part of it is how she doesn't leave like, this is scary. No, she crouches down by the side of the pool as he's just doing his little swimmies.
He's doing his laps because once again, it's
practice for regionals.
You have to practice for national, regional, semi-regionals. Yeah. And I love that she's like, I can make your quality of life better. And then Xander comes and is like, Cordy, that is not me. And then whatever fish she was like being very, very kind to jumps up and tries to grab. But they run off. Thankfully, they're safe.
Yeah. Yes. So they get out, and then we see our sex jail in the library used for something else. It is used to house the fish swim team.
Yes, because I guess once they turn into fish, then they can attack each other and not innocents.
I suppose. They're just trying to prevent more people from getting hurt. Buffy is still in the pit. She's in the water pit. And so Xander comes in, and this was pretty fascinating to me. We've seen Buffy like leap over the gate of the school. And I guess this is the most similar, where she does like a standing jump out of the water to grab onto Xander's hand to be pulled up out of the fish tank.
Yeah, I wonder how she's able to do that.
Super strength, I guess.
Do you think that maybe it's like a reverse shot. Like maybe she actually like falls in, but then they like reverse it so that it looks like she's jumping up. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah, that could be it.
I'm just curious how the show is able to achieve.
Or someone underneath her just did like the cheerleader, woo, like up,
Yeah.
But yeah, she gets out, and then the coach is like, no, both of you are now going into my water pit, and he hits them with wrenches. But Buffy's too quick. She trips him, and he falls in the pit, and all his little swim team boys eat him.
That is unfortunate.
Or they might do something else to him, honestly, because Buffy says, wow, the boys really love their coach. And he did say they had other needs, and I don't know what's going on down there. I'm just saying. Yikes.
A little pleasure, a little pain, I suppose.
Yeah.
I did think that the punchy kickies were very well choreographed and extra interesting, especially in the water. Kind of like synchronized swimming.
Yeah, really the best of the best that Buffy has to offer.
Yeah, truly. Did you see, talking about the Olympics, the girls that have to do synchronized swimming, what they have to do to their hair? They have to
it's like hard as a rock. Yeah.
Plaster their hair with like lard or something. And it's like really hard to take out. It's wild.
Yeah. It looks like a nightmare.
Yeah, it does.
I wouldn't want to do that.
It does. Yeah. So thankfully the coach is eaten and Buffy and the gang are safe. Even from branches.
They called animal control, which I'm like, of all the things to try to call to help with this fish human problem, animal control, really? And they're not going to do anything. And luckily the boys make it out to sea. So they're going to maybe just spend their life. I mean, listen, the one guy really did love the ocean, so he can just talk about how great it is to his other fish brothers, you know?
Yeah, they essentially go home. And I don't know if we're going to see these fish boys again, but I hope in the sea, the guppies and the angelfish and the Nemo fish, I hope that they're more accepting than the humans are and they can find some peace in the ocean.
Yes.
Maybe they can find some like hot mermaids and like they can like have conjugal visits with mermaids. Like they can have a happy life, just not out in shore, you know?
Yeah. And that's the episode. That's Go Fish. We went fishing. Yeah. Honestly, I know we're like joking about this episode.
I'm not joking.
Okay,
I'm
Sarah
not
loves
joking,
it.
Bitch.
Sarah loves it. Yeah. Again, to be blunt, I didn't think it was that bad. I felt like it could have been worse. It wasn't the worst way to spend 40 minutes of my day. You know, the pack, worst way to spend the 40 minutes of my day. But let's get into some feedback. We got an email from Joy, and oh my gosh, I was overjoyed when I read the beginning of this email. So she says, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry I haven't emailed y'all in a while. It's been a hectic summer. Girl, we get it. Don't worry. My sweet husband," I love this story, "rescued 4 cats, 2 of which turned out to be pregnant and gave birth to 6 kittens each."
What?
Yeah. On top of that, we also rescued a pit chihuahua mix.
Oh,
I love this little family.
It's like a zoo over there. How many cats do you still have in your possession?
We need to know how many cats you still have.
So that was 4 cats plus 12.
So there were 4 cats, 2 of them were pregnant, and they gave birth to 6 kittens each. So that's 18 cats total. No, 14 cats total.
Plenty of cats.
And then 1 rescued pit chihuahua mix. Also, Joy, we need to know the name of your new dog. I'd love to know. And the cats. If you're keeping any of the cats also, like, did you name them?
Oh, and I mean, if you want me to help name all 12 kittens, I can certainly do so.
We volunteer our services.
Rodolfo. Midge.
Okay. What?
Petri dish.
Anyway, moving on. She says, "But I've been listening this whole time. Giles and his dark meth past makes Giles more complex, and you haven't seen the last of Ripper." Ooh, love that.
Good.
Plus, who hasn't dabbled in a little black magic? And she did say in Jen's voice in parentheses, so I was obligated to do it that way.
Little black magic.
In their youth. Also, Kendra the Vampire Slayer. Oh man, that Vampire Slayer. Oh man, that pronunciation lives rent free in my head. Oh, I think that was the actor. Yeah. It was shocking to see John Ritter in a role where he's a bad guy, but he did such a good job. Totally agree. The gross filler episodes y'all don't care for, I love. They may not be the best, but they're usually entertaining, and killed by death might be why I hate hospitals, so it's always stuck with me. That's interesting. I love your theories, and Drusilla being the Romani princess that Angelus killed and was cursed for might top thinking Angel as an actual angel.
I mean, to be honest with you, I thought both theories were pretty good.
I did too. Jess, you nailed it with the werewolf thing. Thank you so much. I felt the vindication through my phone. Oz is the best. I love him and Willow so much, and I love how much you love them too. Xander and Cordelia are pretty cool too, I guess. LOL. And it makes my heart happy that y'all see how amazing Cordelia is now. She's such an awesome character, and she only gets better. Something this show did that was so genius is that it took normal high school experiences and put them in a supernatural filter. Like, high school is hell for most kids, but in Sunnydale, high school is hell. It sits on the hellmouth. The show is also really good at subverting our expectations, right, Sarah? Like this episode, jocks get A's because they're in good sports. And in this one, they turn into fish too.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a really bad epidemic that needs to be stopped.
It's a big problem. And then Angelus, Drululu, and Spike are a huge part of why this is my favorite season, and it's mostly Angelus. I love Angel, but there's something about Angelus. Maybe it's the guy liner, the evil smirk, or the clothes, but he's so deliciously evil, he revels in it. It makes for a very entertaining villain, and he's my second favorite big bad, possibly third. That's interesting. I'm very curious to know. Is it Daddy Vamps? You can tell us, Joy. You can tell us, Joy. It
has to be. I don't know who else it would be.
The annoying one obviously could be up there. Also, his mansion is one of my favorite sets. I think it's a Frank Lloyd Wright design, and it appeared in one of the seasons of Westworld. Really?
Oh, interesting.
And my husband and I knew instantly that's Angel's mansion. Can you let me know what where in Westworld? I'm very curious. I did watch Westworld, so I'd like to know. And his reveal of killing the woman in the alley and blowing out the smoke is hot. I don't care if in this universe vampires don't have breath. I love this scene. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Rip Jenny Calendar, but I love how we're getting like beat for beat all her thoughts from all these episodes. This is so fun. Rip Jenny Calendar, but that whole episode is iconic. I had an AIM friend, or AIM friend, whose away message was Angelus's speech about passion, and I wanted to get it as a tattoo when I was younger, much younger.
Ooh.
That's hilarious. This death also shows that the creator was not afraid to kill off anyone, and though she was killed by a vampire, it was a natural death, which makes it almost more shocking. Totally agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Instead of, I don't know,
like a bite or anything.
Magic or something. Yeah. It was just a neck snap. It was wicked.
Yeah. I Only Have Eyes for You is so damn good, and I'm so glad y'all loved it just as much. It's a top episode of the show overall. Everything about it was perfect, and I agree that the momentum this episode had is slowed down a bit by Go Fish.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, though.
Never. Of course not. But the finale, phenomenal. Also, the teacher in the flashback was also in Dawson's Creek. Oh, she's Amy Lloyd, the film critic Dawson had a one-night stand with. Oh my God, I'm living right now. She says, I think that's up to 3 people on Buffy's Creek. That's hilarious. Buffy's
Love
Creek.
it.
Yes. Or Dawson the Vampire Slayer is also funny. So what can I say about Go Fish? It's better than the pack. Agree. Cordelia is wonderful as always. Double agree. Angelus is funny with splitting out his blood. Sure. Wentworth Miller, aka Gage, is adorable. And the coach got what he deserved. But I know Sarah just loved it.
That was really, really good. I mean, you spit no falsities. Like everything that you just said was true. Phenomenal on all counts.
And y'all asked for soap counts. Okay, here we go. She uses 3. A body wash, a bar soap, and a face wash.
So I have some bad news.
Oh, great. Okay.
I have added like 4 soaps to my routine.
How? It's been a week. How did you find 4 soaps in a week?
Well, I watched this like crazy hygiene girl and I followed what she told me and I got like 4 more soaps. Now I have 2 face washes.
Why do you have 2 face washes?
One has to be water-based and the other has to be oil-based.
Okay.
I added a special soap for my behind.
We rate this podcast as explicit, and the one time you hold back is by saying my behind.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay.
Just move on.
Anyway, yeah, moving on. Joy says, hopefully this was something nice to read after having to sit through Go Fish. I can't wait for y'all's reactions to Becoming parts 1 and 2. I'll try to send in something for sure. Till next time. Bye. Joy, this was an absolute pleasure to read. We appreciate you like filling us in on all your thoughts from everything you've missed. That was like such a fun little jaunt through memory lane of the episodes we've covered previously. I loved that. Oh, that was so fun. Okay, I have another email from Joe, but we can't read it until the end of the season. So I'm holding on to that one, Joe. Don't worry. We did get your email and I haven't read it because I don't want to be spoiled. We got an email from Linda. Hey, Sarah and Jess, something tells me this probably wasn't your favorite episode of the season.
I don't know what everybody's going on about.
It's obviously Sarah's favorite.
It's my favorite episode of all time.
I hope you guys can at least enjoy a fun fact about Go Fish. One of my favorite actors, Wentworth Miller, aka the guy from Prison Break, makes his acting debut in this episode as Gage. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is his first ever credited on-screen role.
Oh, that's incredible.
Uh-huh. Dude, what is that foulness? Is also a line I quote all the time. She also mentioned Shane West from A Walk to Remember being in this episode. We noticed him. We had our eye on him. I know. Okay, here we go. I know you ladies are probably going to tear me apart for this. Okay, are you ready? But I have to admit, teenage me loved this episode back in the day. I was in love with Nicholas Brendan, aka Xander. I would rewind and rewatch the I'm undercover, not under much scene over and over.
Hey, yeah.
I also think the Zordy scene where Cordy thinks Xander became a fish monster is really sweet. You can tell she actually cares about him. I agree.
Yeah.
Hope you're prepared for Becoming parts 1 and 2. It's all been leading up to this. I feel like I'm not alone in saying these next 2 episodes are a couple of my favorite episodes of the series. You guys are also very close to finding out my senior quote.
Ooh.
Oh, Linda, that's very exciting.
When you reveal it, then we can reveal our senior quotes.
I do remember mine, and it is so cringy and dumb, but we'll get there. So thank you so much for your email, Linda. And of course, if anyone wants to send an email, shitnuttiespot@gmail.com is the way to do so. We greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. I wanted to shout out Julia. Julia sent us in a really great email all about I Only Have Eyes for You. And kind of about like I thought it was really interesting. I won't read the whole thing, but it basically talks about how like the grooming aspect of the teacher student relationship and like totally valid and I think like obviously watching it through a 2024 lens is like completely different, but talking about like the relationship between the teacher and student and kind of paralleling with Buffy and Angel and how there's like, you know, a ginormous age difference there too.
Yeah, totally.
Julia also ended her email with, "What is up with the Go Fish slander? One of my favorite episodes of the season. It's a Monster of the Week episode. So yes, it does break the flow of the main story, but it's so much fun and actually pretty dark at times. And we get some great guest stars. One I think is the hottest guy on the show,
Shane West.
I assume Julia's talking about the guy from Prison Break.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. You can let me know, Julia, if I am misinterpreting. So send in your feedback. shitnuttiespot on Twitter and Instagram, shitnuttiespod.com. If you want to send in a voicemail, we always love to get voicemails. Anything else you want to say about this episode, Sarah?
No, I just think that overall, I think that it was exactly what we needed in the season in order to like break up some of the heavier stuff. I think that, it was like funny where it needed to be funny. It was thought provoking when I needed to think. I think it was heart wrenching when my heart needed to be wrenched. And there was wrenches as well that are murder weapons. And once again, talking about awareness, be careful out there with your wrenches. All in all, a great episode. All in all, I really enjoyed talking about it. How about you, Jess?
It wasn't the worst episode. Like, here's the thing. I understand it breaking the flow and like, but this isn't any worse than breaking the flow earlier in the season. Like, I feel like we've broken the flow so many times with these Monster of the Week episodes that just feels like the Buffy thing. Like, that's a 90s thing. There's 22 episodes. There are going to be some that are Monster of the Week and don't follow the story, the whole story arc, season long arc. And yeah, I'm excited for next week where we get to watch Becoming parts 1 and 2. Don't forget, that's your homework. We're doing both episodes in one podcast. So just don't forget to watch both before you listen to the podcast. I mean, you're probably spoiled already because we're the only ones in the world, I guess, who aren't spoiled on Buffy.
Yeah.
So
I am promise you unspoiled.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what we have. So come back next time to hear us talk about the finale of season 2. In the meantime, I'm over on Talking Shit, talking about Schitt's Creek. Sarah's on Whirlwind Podcasts. They have a ton of stuff going on over there, so make sure to check them out at Whirlwind Pods on Twitter to see what they have going on. And next week, we'll be back for the finale. Until then, everyone, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.